I kind of fiddled with this a little bit more. I'm still digging at it. Haven't quite gotten there. still, still trying to figure this out. So then I kind of distracted myself and went to creating me a referee for my game. But I need to do a remix here because I don't want him to have a tail. I want him to have a tail, I mean. Give him a cobra's tail. Keep background off. Keep background removed. And pose. It's actually pretty cool. I asked for a T-pose so that I can try to animate him. But I decided I want him to have a tail like a snake. So here's the problem when you ask for things like a tail. You got to animate a tail. I have no idea how to animate a tail. I mean, the way a snake moves, right? They would move like if they were sitting up, they would slither, right? So they would lean down and the tail would slither. I think that would have to be how you do it. You'd have to have a. I didn't say a cobra. I hope they know it's not a tail. I hope they mean a. Oh shoot! I didn't say cobra tail, like a snake tail, or not even a tail. It's more like a snake's body. Oh shoot! I didn't give it a good. I didn't give it good explanation. Hopefully, yeah. I think he's. Yeah, it's not a snake. Snakes don't have tails. They have a body that looks, looks like a tail. But dang it, that's all right. I don't plan to spend a lot of time on this. So it's like I'm wasting my Soras, but that's all right. Oh, it kind of did it. I don't like the zigzaggy one. I think these work good. That one's kind of got a better match to his body. Well, no, I guess they're both pretty good. So that's a lot of snake. I like this one better. I think the tail is better. This tail is all wonky. I mean, it's a really long, crazy tail. This one's kind of short. This one's kind of like happy medium, and that one's crooked. So let's go with that one. Download that guy. That works pretty good. Snakes don't wear pants. Unless you have arms, you can't wear a shirt. I mean, they can. They have to have arms, right? You have to give, in order to animate any creature, really, in order for them to be able to do human-like actions, you need to give them arms or legs or both, because it just doesn't. Now, there are some cartoons that I've tried to make snakes have, they're just snakes. And when they do things, they either have magic hands. In other words, they kind of float, things just float around them like they're carrying it, but there's nothing really holding onto the object. Or they're doing something interesting, like their tail holds it. When they walk along, they're holding things with their tail. But that's some serious animation there. Like you have to have a tail, and then he'd have to use the tip of his tail to use his whistle. Or how would you be a referee? You can't call signals. That would be some serious animation to get that to work. But there you go. He might be usable. He's T-posed, which means I can give him some animation, at least in his arms. I have no idea how I would handle giving him uh, animation in his body. I have to make him into 3D and somehow, I don't know, do you make a lot of little bones to make it so you can slither? Yeah, I don't know. And that all depends on how well the 3D rendering comes out, because I don't know how good that would be either. Because I've noticed that things like Trippo can't do tails. It tries to it tries to make their tail into feet, and things get weird. So yeah, it doesn't work. So this is turning him 3D is probably not the hard part. It's turning him 3D and animating him is going to be the hard part. But I think he'd be a cool ref. There are snakes on the league, but you got to have some player characters that are other species, right? You can't have just humans being the referees. That would be what do you call it? Prejudicism, where you only allow you only have humans when you have a whole bunch of races in the league, but only humans can be the refs. Now are races, are animals and humans different races? They're really different species, aren't they? And what if they're mixed? What if somehow magic has made it possible to mix animals and humans? Wow, there's crazy people out there that probably tried to make it happen. But if it was actually a thing, gene splicing and all this stuff, and you start creating half human whatevers, they'd be abominations. True, but let's not worry about that. Let's just go with these are kind of cool. In reality, they'd probably not be so cool. They'd probably be kind of creepy looking, right? Give snakes arms and legs, and they have the minds of snakes. They have to have minds that are a little bit more thinky like humans, but we already know that the last snake that we know of that was intelligent enough to talk caused some serious problems for humans. Well, if you're a Christian or at least a Jew, you know the story. But hey, maybe even if you're not, if you once were, your family is, perhaps. Okay, what do we got here? Let's see. Enhancing. Looking at your code base, I see how the current approach might be cumbersome for managing the many fields. Apply progress log based on the proto definition. I can see in simulator.proto there are indeed several more fields beyond what's being set in the current add entry method. Here's how we could refactor this to use a more flexible entry based approach. Create a progress log entry struct. All right, well, let's do this, because I have a feeling I'm going to need this, because this is just going to be the only way. It's basically everything that's in here. I mean, really, it's the struct has got to be all of the above. It's got to have everything. And it's essentially just the play progress log, right? I mean, ID, game state, team, step number, step number, team player ID, route action target, route action results, step speed, add all other fields from the proto definition. Interception chance. So it just took a guess. I don't like when it takes guesses. Why does it take guesses? All right, so I'm going to be, please update suggestions. Complete code. includes full mapping and proto fields. I know AI's like, do this, and I'm like, no, you do it. I don't do this, and it gives me like 5 and goes, you put the other 15 in here. I'm like, you're the fast typist. I'm an okay typist, but you're a fast typist. Don't make me do it. I don't want to go look and map and blah 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 blah. Just give me the right code. I want to be the lazy one. I'm the human. Humans can be lazy. You AI things cannot be lazy. Like this one. Map the entry fields. I said, I don't want to map everything. Let's do this without that. And it goes, oh, here, map all the other fields. I'm like, no, you map them. To maintain compatibility with existing code. Why does it always want to do that? One more thing. There is no need to maintain existing code compatibility except in name. There are no existing calls to the current code. We are trying to create a functional set. Current code does not work. And that's another thing it likes to do. It'll always say, oh, let's have backward compatibility. It's like, well, if you're updating code, I get it. If you're like your app is in existence, it's been running, we don't want to break what works already. But we don't have that. This is a new app. There's nothing that exists that has to maintain code. Well, I won't say nothing. At this point, there are things that are functional that we do not want to break. But this is not one of those. This is new. This is the beginnings of my simulator, and this is where we have to get all the bits and parts and pieces calling correctly, because there will be a point where I can't change objects significantly. I can add to them, make minor tweaks short of complete and total rewrites, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to being able to try. I did put some code on the front end to handle building my first simulation action, which is getting guys going to the huddle. But in that, it also needs to be able to call. There's got to be back-end interactions, which I'm building right now, and then I can go to the huddle and call the first step, which is just moving guys to the line of scrimmage. The first step, and then there will be other actions and things that have to take place, like move or hand off or snap. And all that logic has to start happening next, and I just slowly keep adding things that are going to move the ball around. I have no idea how to handle giving the ball to players, how to do any of that. I mean, I have ideas. I know you can attach a ball to a figure. I don't have any players that have animations for that, so I'll probably just be attaching them, and they'll just be moving weird and sliding across the field. So we'll see. Okay, so we're going to create this. So we're basically, I guess it's using this to actually update the play progress log.go. And I'm going to let it do this only because I normally don't like to put structs in my other files. But the reason I'm going to put this here is because it really is designed specifically to create a base entry for types for the progress log. It's not going into the database. This is going to be used to add to the progress log, which is an actual struct, an actual database entry. And so I'm taking this approach. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and let it put the struct here. I hope I don't change my mind later and move it. It doesn't matter where it's at technically, but the advantage to, I guess theoretically, the reason it should be in the types.go though, which I'm thinking I might now that I think about it, is if I ever change one, I'm going to need to change the other. You know what? I am going to move to types. Because I need to see, oh, that's changing. So I got to go be able to realize that they are, in fact, different objects. Should have seed instead. All right. Play progress log doesn't do anything. New play progress log. Entry. With game state, adds game state info to the entry. You know what? I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm just going to add these items to the create, because these are actually the first actions that happen. They're all going to happen at the same time, so we're going to put these in here. In fact, I'm going to put them at the beginning because I feel like they're the more important actions. Oops. All right, let's... Holy moly. To database mode. Converts the protobuf play progress log to a DB model. Really? What is this one? Adds a pre-populated progress log entry to the play progress log. Wait, I have two different play progress? Wait, do I have two different play progress logs? I have a DB one and a non-DB one? Because that seems kind of weird. No? And this is called play progress log. To DB model converts the protobuf progress log to a DB model. And what do we actually... Usage and route action functions. Example for complex scenario with ball carrier and defender. Yeah, that's stuff. I mean, yes, I may have to do some of that stuff. Oh, I see what they're doing. They're creating these, adding extra stuff. So you say, create a new progress entry. With game state, with player position, with ball position, with turnover. Huh. I don't think I'm going to do the with game state though, because the new progress entry is the base existing. It is interesting though. It's weird because it's exact same fields all the way down but we'll leave it. All right, so we're gonna go here, pull this up. This is my new add entry. That might actually be good. I like that. Because not all plays are going to have a target. With challenge chances, yeah, that's good. I'll keep that. With turnover, sure. Now with speed. Yeah, I guess some players would have speed on certain actions. Yeah, we'll do that. With action result. Yeah, all actions are going to have a result though, technically. With player position, sets player position info. Interesting. Maybe. With ball position, sets ball position, okay. Don't know that I need the with game state though. All right, I'll take this stuff out. Control C, and we'll go back down here, and we'll pop these guys in here. Wait, it's gonna replace the add entry. Then we have to add at the top here. We'll add these two fields. New progress log entry. New play progress log. Play progress log. Play progress log. Oh, I guess I just need the entry one. And I think we're going to add these two values to the creation of the state. And we will go game state ID equals game state and step num equals step num. There we go. I still don't know if I like the way the ID is defined. In fact, I'm pretty sure I don't like it. I think I just wanted to use a counter for the play progress log entry ID because I don't know that the benefit of that, having all that in there. It's not even unique. For one thing, a player can run the same action on multiple steps, so that's not even going to be a unique entry. Let's go ahead and do this. And what do we got down here that's causing problems? We got ball X grid position. Ball X grid position, ball Y grid position. I'm not sure why. Did I need to make gen on this? I mean, why is this not done? Why is this saying this doesn't exist? Oh, that's because of the changes. So this is probably lower B. Oh, cannot use entry box screen variable of type float 64 as int32 value. Really? So why is this? Why are they different? Why int32 float? Why do we need it to be a float? Grid position is not a It's just a simple int. Why are we... Which one are we're trying to convert an int to a float? Cannot use float. Why is it using a float? Why aren't we using an int? That don't make any sense. If everything's int, why are we using int? There's no reason for these to be float. There's no decimals involved. Now, how I'm going to move inches on a field is probably have to divide each space up by 64 and move that number of inches. Put the ball on a spot that's that number of inches forward. So it's going to be like, put it on X blah, whatever the previous spot is. And it's in relation to the current spot. So we'd have to add whatever that decimal times blah, blah, blah. So the ball is not placed in the center of the field all the time. I think it's placed on the hash mark. I believe it's either going to go, what is the ball placement rules? When ref places a ball after an NFL play, how do they decide how far or left of center to put it on the field? How far right or left of center to put it on the field? In the NFL, the ball is placed based on where the previous play ended. If the play finishes outside the hash marks, the ball is placed on the nearest hash mark. If the play ends between the hash marks, the ball is spotted exactly where it was when the ball was down. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so that kind of shifts things, gives it some fluidity. So the hash marks, how far apart are the midfield hash marks? I think they're 10 yards. The hash marks are 70 feet, 21 meters apart, which aligns them with the goalposts. 21 meters apart. 70, really? No, that's not right. That's not right. How come the NFL would be wider? College would be easier, right? They'd be closer. That's not right. There's no way that they're 70 feet. 70 feet? No. How far apart are NFL, or let's say, how wide are NFL goalposts? They're only 18 feet. So if the hash marks line up with them, they're only 5.64. So hash marks on the field in the NFL are 18 feet apart, 18 feet 6 inches apart. Wow. Probably the centers. Are they, or is it the center of the hash marks being the gap? Would the gap from inside edges would actually be narrower? The hash marks are centered 18 feet 6 inches apart, meaning the distance is measured from the center of each hash mark rather than the edges. Since each hash mark is 4 inches wide, 4 inches wide? No, it must be 4 inches wide that way. Rather than the edges. Since each hash mark is 4 inches wide, the actual gap between the inside edges of the hash marks would be 18 feet 2 inches. They're not only 4 inches. Are they only 4 inches? NFL hash marks are only 4 inches? Really? That's not right either. I don't think that's right. There's no way. Let's go look at an NFL football field. Images of NFL. Let's be picky. Broncos NFL stadium field. Good grief, I just want to see closer. Zoom in. That's so far away. It's like, that's not even useful. Save image as copy image. Hey, funny. Superman 8193 did this field. I just think that's funny because, well, you know, I'm a Superman fan. I even have a what do you call it, channel dedicated to Superman. Striving to be Superman. That's my fitness channel that I barely ever use anymore. I just haven't figured out what to do with it. I want to do more. It was growing okay. It was over 100 followers, but I think it got to 100 followers. I mean, considering, you know, how slow I am at getting things to grow. There's no way those are only 4 inches wide. I'm sorry. There's no way. Those are way longer than that. How long? I don't. So they're 18 feet across from center to center. I think that's what they're talking. Oh, maybe they're talking about these little hash marks. Those might be 4 inches. And based on that, it is the ends. So these are hash marks, I think is what they're talking about. These lines are at the edge of that. So this is probably 18 feet across, which I guess kind of makes sense. Man, I wish I could come up with a way to create an asset that would work for the field lines. I don't know. It's a skill I don't have, and I'm not sure how to do it. I just want the field line so I I can change the textures underneath the field. So if I had just a really nice clean set of lines for the fields, and then I'll use the same. I use it on all of them. All the fields I use the same lines. But this way I could then put different textures under them, like brown grass, deep green grass. Just change up the grass textures, and then maybe have some mud and some dirt and some patchy snow. But I'd always be able to just throw the lines down over the top of it. Now, truthfully, some of those lines might not. Maybe I throw textures down on top of the field, like snow would go on top, and it would be patchy, but it would be on top of whatever kind of field that place has. That's the dream, right? And then I'm creating logos for every team, so I want to be able to throw their logos down on top of the middle of the field, just so that every team can have their logo in the middle of the field when they're doing a home game. Stuff like that, adding little extras that you don't get off of a lot of these other football games. They just give you generic fields, or just say something like the game name, like mine would be FCL in the middle of the field. Now, if it was the Super Bowl, or in my case, the FCL championship, maybe you put the trophy in the middle of the field or something, the logo of the trophy, or maybe you put the logo of the team or whatever. But still, I want to be able to make it kind of cool that way. Now, does anybody have a double name mascot in the NFL? I don't think so, huh? It's like, I have one of mine is the Island Lions. Now, the idea is that they're Island Lions, but it could be something Island Lions, which just makes them lions. Which could be good. Maybe I should do that. It might simplify things a little bit for my characters. But like the Icicle Giants, that's two terms, right? They're Icicle Giants. They're a blue ice kind of giant. Now the character I created, the 2D version of the character, he doesn't have the same kind of cool aspect as some of the others. It's a problem with going with 2D. 2D is, or not, creating 2D kind of cartoony looking characters. I want it to be kind of cartoon looky, so some of the characters might not look as nice as the 3D versions. That's something I have to work on. But what I definitely want to do is I'll definitely come up with logos for everybody. Everybody's going to get their own logo, and I already have the logos in mind. That's going to be their team names and their mascots, and all that stuff's going to be. That stuff's fixed. I just haven't figured out how the character models are going to work, because I'm still trying to iron out that little tidbit of complication. So it's definitely a challenge to do that. But anyway, I wanted to come up with I'm trying to figure out how to do. Did I already save this? I think I already did. Why is that opened up there? Did I save it to downloads? Oh, did I not save it? I could have swore I saved it. That's a pretty blurry image. None of these are very well zoomed. I don't mind if it's an end zone for this, but having a nice... These are some decent over-the-top views. Now, are they officially the league or the info? The stadium? I don't know, but They look pretty good. The only one I see here, though, that's kind of pretty close to what I want to see is this one. And they are pretty close together. I mean, you think about that, this is 53 yards. An NFL field is wider than this area here, which is crazy. I mean, you think that the field is so long and skinny, but it's actually 53 yards. So the width is like the players are standing. Every play, it's like the players are standing between the 40 and the goal line when they're lining up to run a play. It's like lining up between the 40 and the goal line. That's actually pretty crazy to think that they're spreading out this far to run a play. And then they run, well, it'll be like, and then they run that way. So it would, if you turn them around and have them run that way, they're always taking up about that same amount of speed. That's a lot of spreading out. Your guys are 30 to 40 yards apart between plays when you run a play. I still have to figure out how to create a mesh, or not a mesh, a texture that is the lines for a field. And I don't know how to do that. I could easily give it the dimensions and the parts, but I don't know how AI would come up with that. I don't think AI is smart enough to do anything precision-y for images. It's terrible at creating football fields. Terrible. Did I mention terrible? Because it's terrible. Literally, it is the worst thing in the world at making football fields. It can't put numbers down consistently. Sometimes if you get lucky and you're only doing like 30 yards, you might get the numbers right. But most of the time it does stupid stuff with the numbers, like it's not 40 across from 40, it's 40 across from 30. And it might do something like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and it goes around in a circle, and it's like the numbers are all increasing. But yeah, it's not impressive. For all that they say AI is getting better at for text, it doesn't know how to do things that are numerical. It can't sort numbers. It's just, yeah, images are not good for that. But that said, these are definitely pretty narrow. It's like 18 feet. I'll go with that. And I think that's when they say when it mentions the hash marks, it's referring to the little lines that go across at each field spot. But I don't even know if these have that. Does this have that? Let's see. Save. Let's see. Copy image. It's perfect. Why is it perfect? Perfect Broncos NFL field paint football design throwback. That is one ugly field. I hope it gets better when you zoom in on it.
Look at this. Perfect. Oh my God. Isn't it great? Chris. I know, it's my...
Brings us to RJ Harvey. He's rolling.
Harvey inside the 20. 92 yards.
Brings us to RJ Harvey. He's rolling.
Harvey inside the 20. 92 yards.
How do I close this? That's pretty cool. But alright, I wanted to just see this image, but I don't know where it's going. I said copy it, but where's it putting it? I will say save image as. And I'll just put it here, I guess. So download. Alright, save. I'll go up here, and we'll see if it's any cleaner when I open it. It's probably not. I forgot it opens PaintShop Pro. So slow. PaintShop Pro is fine if I have to do some work in PaintShop Pro, but if all I want to do is look at an image, I I got to do the right click, open in Paint or something. Just takes so long to load an image. Honestly, I probably could have just done the preview. Probably would have done fine. Ugh, that's so ugly. Tiny. Oh, look at that. It's a mess. You can barely even tell. Really? Is that the best? Oh, that is so bad. That is not a good image. Yeah. Hey, at microscopic distance, it's not so bad, but it is terrible. That is a terrible image. All I wanted to do is see the hash marks, and yeah, they're about 18 feet across, so let's just go with it. So it appears that the hash marks that are the horizontal hash marks, their ends go up to, they line up with the vertical hash marks, or the Z hash marks. So you have your crisscross, and then so basically the entire gap in between lines up with the posts. So the hash marks line up with the posts. So the posts are probably 3 or 4 inches wide, and so are the hash marks. So they line up right with them. And then, at least that's, well, I guess to hear, I think that's how they probably line them up. I think that's how they line them up. So the gap between is 18.4 between the sides, only because they line those up with the posts, and therefore not from the center of the posts. I think the gap in the posts is X, and so is the gap in the vertical hash marks. And the horizontal hash marks, same thing. It's going to be the same gap. It's just lining up with the sides of the hash mark. So your gap in the middle is 18.4 feet or whatever it is. Or 8, yeah. Which is a pretty good, I mean, you only got a 20-foot opening. That's, I mean, if you think about it, it seems pretty, that seems pretty wide. I'm like looking at it and going, so you have to kick a ball that's between this wall and that wall. Because I'm pretty sure this isn't even 20 feet across. It might be in my room here, but it's like from where I'm at, roughly to the stone wall you see behind me at the stone fireplace, brick fireplace. I've got maybe 2 feet over here, so that's kind of a big opening. It's like, how do they miss that? How do you miss that? That's a big opening. So even if I take away my arm length here, from here to there, and this is 20 feet, that's still a big opening. So, all right, NFL kickers. I mean, come on. That's a big opening. Get that ball through the whole uprights. You can't get it through. I can get it through an opening like this, assuming I could kick it far enough. But yes, the further away you get, the smaller the mistakes are necessary, right? You're 50 yards away. That is like kicking from across the street. Now those posts don't look so they don't look so wide. If you're standing under them, you're like, this is really wide. But if you're like 50 yards away, I get it. Maybe it looks a lot tighter than that, but still. All right, well, that's a distraction. Let's move on. All that just to figure out how far apart the posts are. Am I determining whatever it is I'm working on? I was just trying to look at where the ball's going to go, and my brain gets going, all right, well, the ball got to be placed here. We got to do the math on that and that. So it's each little thing. There's all these little bits and parts, and I got to keep adding those in. So let's keep moving. All right, so we're going to close this off. Let's see where our current bugs are. All right, so now, new progress log we have with ball position, game state. All right, so these are going to have so the call to route actions, which I guess I don't actually have here. So that must be a run play thing. Execute route step. All right, so route step has the home and team, and then track players who become injured, create air channels to collect errors for go routines. Process team route assignments, that's me going through and actually running those. Also, it's process team route assignments. All right, so we're going to go hashtag code base, and we're going to say, oh, yeah, I guess I don't need to say code base. I don't know what the difference is between that and workspace. But execute route step will be where we create the new progress entry. Then, while it is, and it will pass that entry through to each process team route assignments. Process route assignments for both teams concurrently. Yeah, that works. To each process team route assignments function or function call. And then, so that way we have our processing going on. We're going to pass the entry through to the process team route assignments. And then we got to go to whatever that is. Process team route assignments is probably process team route assignments. What will process team route assignments do? Find player with this position using depth chart. Oh, you know what? I may actually have to say something different. I may actually have to do this piece and change the order of things. Like take this out. Let's actually change this. And instead of doing it like it was doing it before, we will take these back out. We're going to call this width. What were we doing? Width? Width player. We'll take these things out. Actually, all those can go away. And then this one, we take out the player stuff. Let's actually take this out too for the moment. Can you update this? Update the new progress log entry function to use a use a counter to increment play ID. connecting values, player, and action is either unique or useful. Can you up to counter increment player ID as connecting values of action, player and action is unique or useful. Yeah, because the way it was doing it is it was merging prefix play log and player ID and the action, but a player can move multiple times and the action might be move. So we'd have to like have other things like the value. Hey, Nintendo. It's been a while, man. It's like, I know, probably getting boring. It's like, dude, every time I come back, you're doing the same thing. That's what it feels like sometimes. This week I've been working on the same task, although I've been working on other tasks concurrently. Oh my gosh, what new model? They keep doing new models? No, I probably haven't. Unless they've added it to Copilot. I haven't tried it. What have they added? Let's see, what's the new model? Let's see what they've added to Copilot. There's a long list here. They have Sonnet Thinking. Sonnet 4? Sonnet 4 is out? Oh. Really? Is it good? Is that the new one? That's got to be the new one. Okay. All right. I got to hear about this Sonnet 4. Let's go see what YouTube says. I didn't know they had a... Because, man, I mean, I like 3.7. Let's go see. Claude 4. Let's go see what Claude 4 does. Claude 3.5, yeah, Claude Premium now available. Claude 4 is finally here, and I pushed it to the limit. Claude 4 is here and is taking on Cursor. A day with Claude. Claude 4. Anthropic Claude 4 in 5 minis. Almost, I can't believe what Anthropic's Claude 4 just did. It seriously almost made me cry. We ask that you have been preparing for my new job for part-time. I haven't got any gigs in the past 3 months, so I've been doing training at my job. So sorry. No, dude, you don't have to apologize. I'm just giving you a hard time. That's no big deal. It's good. You got to get a job, man. You got to work. It's mind-blowing. Let's go see how mind-blowing it is. Let's see how...
So Anthropic just released new models, the Claude Opus 4 and the Claude 4 Sonnet, which are complete game changers. I just built this amazing game with one prompt and then just another simple prompt to make a few adjustments, and I was able to build this very cool Mario game, which, as you can see, it is amazing. In this short video, I'm going to share with you the announcement that Anthropic did about these two models, how they compare to the benchmarks, etc. Let me close this. I'm amazed by the graphics, you see, and you know, when we just started, the new models were released, we were expecting Python Snake games, but this is amazing. This is way better. You have the graphics and everything, and again, it only took 2 prompts. The models are already available in the Anthropic, in the Claude website. You can come here, new chat, and you can select Opus or Sonnet. Now, there is a lot of data and information in the Anthropic X account, but let's go through the announcement very fast.
So
basically,
it doesn't look like...
is, as you probably know or remember, Opus is usually the best and most powerful models. In the last few months, we only had Sonnet, which was great, but Opus is more powerful.
Really?
Claude Opus 4
they don't...
is our most
It must
powerful
not be a
model yet,
coding
and the best coding
one, because unless they're not making it available to Copilot, because Opus isn't on here. I only use Sonnet. I didn't even know there was an Opus. I didn't know what Opus was.
model in the world, leading on Swebench 72.5% and Terminal Bench.
I know,
will show
you
the
are.
price in a
You've
moment
been
because
keeping me up
obviously
to
they
date,
share the
man.
graph. Over
I just
here
keep
in the
plugging away
announcement,
with the same one
they
until you
share,
come along and tell me
feedback
there's a
from
better one.
companies who already started testing, such as Corsair, Replit, Block, Rakuten, Cognition, etc. And then they share some data about Claude Sonnet. So Claude Sonnet 4 significantly improves on Claude 3.7
Significantly
industry-leading capabilities,
improves.
excelling in coding with state-of-the-art 72.7 on Swebench.
I don't know what that is, but
Let's
software or
go
something.
to the graphs. Although, as you know, the benchmarks are sometimes
Ah, God, this guy's fast. He doesn't like let me click on something.
to the
Ah,
graphs. Although, as you know,
all right, there you go. That's what I want to see. Okay, so according to this, now I don't think Gemini would claim 63.2. I think they claim higher. But Sonnet 4 says 80. What was 3.7? 3.7 was, I don't know what parallel test time means. Parallel test time compute. Is that thinking model? That's saying some pretty good stuff there. I'm gotta admit, I'm excited to see what it comes up with. Because I like Sonnet, you like Sonnet, and the fact that Sonnet has finally come. You know, the thing is, 3.7 is only what, 2 months old, if that? These guys are coming out with new stuff, it seems like every couple of months. And to go from 70 to 80%, which is 20% higher than Gemini, according to this thing. That's almost 20%. That's crazy. That is some serious crazy. Now I don't know about these tests they're doing, but that is pretty good. So who knows? You know, I mean, we're pretty close. I hear for OpenAI is coming out with 5 pretty soon. What the GPT-5. And I don't know how good it's going to be, but that supposedly is right around the corner. And, you know, by that time, Gemini 2.5 is going to be the grandpa. And Gemini 3 will be coming out in just a couple of weeks. Because, I mean, Gemini 2.5, GPT-4 all came out within a couple of weeks of Sonnet 3.7. And then they slowly kind of keep upgrading. And so here we are with Sonnet at 4. And it says it's better than everybody. It says, OpenAI says it's at 72.1. But I don't know. I've never really used OpenAI stuff, the O3 and the Codex. I don't know anything about those. I've tried them. I don't like their replies. They're not very user friendly.
Providing a real representation of the truth or of our experience as developers or as
honestly, I really think that Copilot needs to clean up their list. I mean, we don't need 4.0 ChatGPT anymore. No one's using 4.0 ChatGPT. I mean, we got 4.1 on there. Just leave it. You know, you don't. I mean, look at the stuff they have on here. I mean, who's using Claude 3.5? I mean, really, what do we need 3.5 on there anymore? Gemini 2. Who the heck is using Gemini 2? There's nobody out there using Gemini 2 with 2.5 on there. And I don't know about these, but GPT-4, probably don't need it. Yeah, Anthropic has been good. That's why I'm liking it. But I'm just saying they need to get rid of these old ones because the list is just getting crazy long. Well, I gotta switch over, man. I gotta go try Sonnet 4. Let's see what that does for my next question, because I have a question that's pretty big here. I would like it if it gets smart enough to stop being irritating. Look, I created this entire instructions, which has helped a lot, by the way. I don't know if you've created an instructions yet. You probably have. I'd imagine you've already done it. But you go create these Copilot instructions. Basically, it's all that stuff you want your tool to know. And I suppose if they're getting slow or something, or if they're capped. So like if you're using the thinking model, yesterday or the day before, I was using the thinking model a lot, and it actually capped me. It said you've used up, more than your share, but you only have to wait a little while, then you can do it again. It's not like it's not like you're capped for the month or something, but you can only do so many requests in a small period of time. So there are some things that have caps, I suppose, but I've never had it be so bad that I can't use 3.7, regular 3.7. I haven't had that happen yet. I can get rid of this one because they put it in. I put this in only when that one wasn't there. That's the one with my key. Oh, this is, where did it go? That was weird. All right, well, leave it here. Progress log entries returning. Oh yeah, that's a different thing. I don't want to delete that, but it's a command I was working on. But I'm trying to get my back end stuff cleaned up here.
Builders, but still it's always interesting to see like the benchmarks. As you can see here,
I mean, between OpenAI and these, I mean, really, this bottom line, I don't know what the parallel test time compute means. I assume that means it's using the thinking model, so really we're talking 72%, 72, 72, 62. OpenAI is apparently better, okay, not better, but about the same. And then Gemini 2.5, so.
Sonnet are leading the way, providing better results than OpenAI 3, and obviously from better results than the GPT 4.1, and even better.
People keep saying GPT 4.1, or at least it was being advertised as being pretty good, like the best version, and it's really not. I'm not impressed with GPT 4.1 at all. It's just not.
Then Gemini 2.5 Pro. Here a few more benchmarks. So the
agentic coding. So according to this, see, the thing is, if you were to go look at like Gemini 2.5's measurements, they're like in the 80s and 90s for some of this stuff. And I don't know, graduate level reasoning, interesting. Again, I don't know what this 83 is. That must be a thinking model of some kind. Multilingual.
Decoding, an agentic terminal, graduate level reasoning. So as you can see here, actually almost, the same level as O3. In terms of tool use,
Who's we?
You can see here.
You said we asked.
Way better than O3. Multilingual Q&A, so similar results like O3.
I am so sore,
Visual
dude.
Reasoning,
I did legs yesterday, and then I went and ran 8 miles today.
High school math
My
competition.
body's like
slightly
going,
lower
dude,
than
what did
O3,
you do? You worked way
all in
too
all,
hard this week.
In terms of coding and mainly coding, this is where these products are supposed to shine. Over here, they share some improvements. They also did an announcement about Claude Code, which is now generally available, brings the power of Claude to more of devs that are using Claude Code in the terminal. I'm not using it so often. I use Windsurf for most of my coding.
I don't use Claude Code because I don't want to pay and have limited amounts of usage. All right, Copilot right now, I've got unlimited usage for like basic requests. Claude Code is not going to be, you're not unlimited. You got like 5 tries for free and then you're done. It might be 20 or 10, I don't know what it is, but certainly not unlimited. So why would I want to use Claude Code?
Related workflows. these models are not available yet in Windsurf. I think they might be available on Corsair. I assume that not yet, but probably when you see this video, they might already be available.
So when did this come out? Today? Dude, you are on top of things, man. This came out today. It's like, what are you doing? Like, do you have like a notification attachment that says, "Hey, we put out a new version"? You are seriously on top of it. So all right, everybody's freaking
we
out
just got
according
the
to
brand
this
new
guy.
Claude models from Anthropic. The internet is going crazy.
The internet's
Concretely,
going
we're talking
crazy.
About Claude for Opus and Claude for Sonnet. And I think the hype right now is actually justified because we're going to be looking
and it's justified.
at various ways to use this thing and how it performs in comparison to some of the competition in this very video. But let me just tell you, writing style unmatched. Coding ability, well, it matches the demos that we just saw on Google I/O, even with the web interface. But not just that, it goes further. It builds these things that are way more complex in one shot, no problem. It's smarter, it performs better on benchmarks. It just looks very solid overall. But the real question isn't if the benchmarks are good. The real question is this thing actually any good in practice? Should this become your new daily driver? The short answer to that is probably, and at the very least, you should consider and test this thoroughly yourself, because this thing goes above and beyond what we've seen from all other models
Probably.
on things like writing, coding, context retention. We'll talk about the developer side of it too, but mainly we'll be focusing on examples for the web interface here. And before we get into it, which I'm very excited about, and this is going to be grounded in multiple examples and experiences with these models, and we're going to talk about this as we do with new launches. But I want to point out one thing, which is Anthropic actually gave me access to this a few days in advance before this launch. And
Okay,
that
so
also
one
makes
of the
this video actually
drawbacks for
sponsored by
me
Anthropic,
is
but
I could pretty
told
much
them straight up, like,
guarantee.
I'm only doing these videos
See, like
if I can kind of
in
give
VS
my
Code,
opinion. And if
you
the
have all
opinion
these options, right?
would
3.7, 3.7,
not,
4, you
confirm
can do
with
all this
what
stuff.
they want, then
But if I go to
too bad.
Visual
Like,
Studio,
we're
which
not
is
gonna
where
be
I'm
able to
doing
do
all
this
my,
because I gotta
well,
keep these
where I do a
reviews
lot of
honest
my
and grounded in examples.
C#
So
stuff, because
I hope that
that's
this video is gonna
connected
show
and I
you
can debug
various
in
examples and use cases
my
of
Unity
this
code.
because they're seriously impressive.
But if I go here and
we
open a
gotta
chat
go
window,
over what has
Oh.
been released here. As I said, this
then
has
click
been
here.
shipped all across their platforms.
there's no
the
4.
two models
They
that I
have
mentioned.
3.7.
So
So I always
Claude
have to
for Opus,
wait
Claude for
longer.
Sonnet.
So,
If you look at
and
the
4
web
is the
platform,
default, which means it's going to keep
Claude.ai,
trying to
you'll see
reset to
that immediately
4.1.
these
Or
are
actually, I think
available
it tries to
to
reset
you
to
if you're
4,
on one of the paid
which is really
plans.
annoying.
Right
but-
now, I'm on the max plan over here. If you use Claude Code, you can just type /model and switch to Opus right here. So that's available too, and they're available through the API today, which is amazing. No fuss, rollout went super smoothly. Okay, so what's new?
Yeah,
well,
can't even change
this
this,
part is actually
but-
pretty quick. It's really the model performance that is the most impressive thing here. But essentially, they released these new models. There's some examples here, but mostly it performs better on coding. It performs better on writing. They make all
It's
of
too
these
early.
claims,
I mean, it
but
just
they
came out,
have-
right? I
okay,
mean, literally,
so
this is
first
20
up,
minutes
I wanna
ago.
look at one
This
benchmark
guy
that
did an
we lead
assessment
with
and a
here.
review
This
20
is
minutes
the,
ago.
SWE
And it was just
bench.
today.
These
So
are practical
the
software
really
engineering
thorough
examples from the
comparisons
real
and
world.
cool
And this is just
reviews
one
are
thing
going to
that all of
happen
these new models, new
in the
frontier
days and
models
weeks to
that can
come.
think measure themselves on. Okay, they are basically different coding problems that coders would face in
So not much I can do with it just yet, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna use it. I just don't. I mean, I have to use my. I have to shape my own opinion, I guess. Now, I've been getting a little. I will say this, with the various AIs over the last few days, as my code gets more and more complex, the AI is getting more and more lazy. What do you mean rate limited? You mean it's like it's blocking you, like you can only use you can only use it a few times without paying? Well, hopefully in Copilot here, I'll still get to use it. I don't know. I guess we'll see what kind of limits I hit. I'll ask it one question. It'll do something. I'll go, ooh, that's cool. I'll ask it a second question. It goes, yeah, you're done for the day, man. You can't use it anymore. but nope, we're done. I think it's impressive though that usually Copilot is not that on top of it. If it comes out, if a new model comes out, it's usually 2, 3, 4, 5 days or more before it shows up on Copilot. The fact that it showed up the same day that it came out is impressive. Yeah, it could be doing that. I did that with, I know Gemini was doing that to me for a while where I'd ask it questions and it would keep choking. So, and it probably gives priority upon its processing stuff to people who are, paying. But, you would think Copilot should get some kind of priority because you are paying, maybe not as much, but you're still paying. I mean, it's because, Copilot's, you're getting Copilot, which is giving you access to these things, but they still have to pay the engines. That's how that works. So there's some amount of money going through to them. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to trying it. I gotta finish working with the item I've got, and then what was my last question here? Oh yeah, that's all I wanted. Okay, so that's pretty small. Let's go here, and this is gonna be a save file, save, and then I gotta go change this. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I ranted yesterday. I unfortunately, it's probably good because I was ranting and my mic was muted. I didn't even realize it. I looked over like, oh, I was complaining about people. Oh wow, yeah, you're definitely getting rate limited. So maybe I won't be able to use it too much. So I was on Sora doing some images, and they have these people keep posting these things, images that they create. If you think that we deserve to have unlimited images, if you think we should have ChatGPT 4 unlimited, or if you think we should get more than 6 images a day for free, like this, like this image. And I'm like, can you write AI? Can you code this? Do you think the companies creating these AIs are doing it for free? The developers are not getting paid. They're all just volunteers out there, and they have nothing better to do than just waste their time and not make any money. Do you think that what they're accomplishing has no value? If any of the answers to this is no, you don't deserve squat. Be thankful, I say, for what they're giving us for free. You go to Sora and you get 6 uses a day, you get 4 images each generation. Dude, that's 6 free shots at something that cost people to make. And I'm just going to be thankful that they're giving me 6. I would love for them to give me more. I want more. I don't have any money to pay them, but I would if I could. But we don't deserve free from people who are working to do this stuff. I saw a response, or somebody posted that, like ChatGPT, they spend $6 million to create this thing, and to support it, because they have developers that are constantly working on it. And what? They're not supposed to make any of that back? I don't know. I don't like, I hate that I can't pay for stuff because, I'm unemployed, that I can't contribute, because they deserve it. It's been so helpful. I'm going to get this game done. Now, whether or not it's in a year or 2 years or 4 years, I don't know. It shouldn't be 4 years. I'm hoping I'm going to have some kind of playable version of the game by the end of the year. But that's all because of AI. And I would love to pay for what they've given me and start using it for doing more and doing more stuff with it. And I would pay for Sora, which is great, and it would be better if, you know, it's going to get better. Hopefully one of these days it'll be able to do numbers without choking. Things like a football field where it just totally mangles it. Whatever. But still, it does a lot of really cool stuff. And I'd gladly pay for these things, but I don't deserve them for free. I didn't work on them. I didn't contribute to them. And I don't know how to do that. So I'll take what I can get. So yeah, anyway, I was ranting about that. I just think people are so, they act so entitled. Like, oh man, this is so cool. I should get it for free. Why? Well, you're probably just sitting at home on your butt. You didn't do any coding. Oh, you're talking about Sora? Yeah, it is. It is crazy. It is very impressive. It's ChatGPT's internet. But okay, so between ChatGPT owns Sora. In fact, when you go to them, they're kind of attached. You can see that they kind of show up on the same menu. But Sora gives you 6 image generations, which is 4 images per. But you know, you create it, it'll give you 4 images that are some variant of what you asked for. But ChatGPT separately will still give you 3 images. So you technically, between just having one account, you get what amounts to 27 images. So you only get you'll get 9 prompts, but 27 images. That's pretty good. That's a pretty decent amount. And if you're like me and you have a couple of accounts, like I have my business account and my personal account, I also have a Microsoft account, which I attach to. So I have 3 accounts I use regularly that I could attach. That's 81 images or 27 prompts. So per day. Honestly, that's all I should be using anyway, because I need to be doing coding. So if I'm doing more than 27 prompts a day, I'm probably wasting too much time. And I rarely use all of them anymore, because I've learned to do them both. When I need to do something, I'll do multiples. And I'm still pretty bad at prompting, because I forget to put key elements of my question in there. I need to get better at what I'm asking for and know what my base question is, and then prompt it correctly so that I get it on the first try and I don't have to waste 2 or 3 more prompts to get the rest of it. I still try to do it in too few questions or too few statements. And then I'll see it and I'm like, oh shoot, forgot to ask for that. Oh shoot, forgot to ask for that. And then I'm like, oops. So my 6 prompts are probably 2 good prompts. Maybe 3 if I'm lucky. It's like my snake I did. I created a snake referee. This guy. So I wanted a referee that was one of the species that I'm using. And I wanted him to have kind of a fantasy feel. When you say fantasy to any of these, ChatGPT or Sora or anything, they always give it that brownish, greenish hue. And I tried to say do it in a cartoon style, but it still kind of came out too 3D-ish. I am shooting for a less graphics intensive variation. So that guy's kind of cool, but he's a little too graphically intense. The style I am going for my game to help with performance and all that kind of crap is this guy here. So I know I have some good images, they're cool, but they're way too graphically intensive, I think, and they're going to be tough to model, and I just think it's not the feel I'm going for. So I wanted to try to simplify the coding while still giving myself a cool appearance. So where is it? So, oh, team images. That's not him. That's the wrong one too. Dang it. Where is my... don't know why he's not in there, to be honest. But... Oh, here he is. So this is the style I'm going for. I want to have images that look kind of like that guy. This one's kind of the same style. He's kind of cool too. But he's too crocodile-y. I didn't want that crocodile-y. This is about as fancy as I want to get. You know, it's 3D-ish, but it's still got kind of a cartoon coloring. It looks kind of sharp. And I think that's kind of what I want to implement. I try to do a T, what do you call it, a T pose so that I can try to model it. I've had moderate luck with the modeling on that, but still. And then this is one. This guy's he's got the wrong feel. He's not 3D-ish enough. He's a little too flat. So I got to work on him still some. But yeah, I got to do that for every freaking dude. And I got to come up with their logos. The logos are going to be fancy though. I'm going to go 3D logos. This is my league logo. I decided this is going to be the league logo. I like it. It's FCL. By the way, I don't know if you know, I changed the name of my game. It's no longer Fantasy Pro Football Manager because that's way long and really kind of a pain to say and whatever. I can't even remember if the fantasy comes first half the time. But so I changed it to this Fantasy Football, which fantasy like A to Z, and it's also got the fantasy so that you get that fantasy feel in the name. So I like the title, and I'm really kind of it's growing on me. It may grow off of me. I've done that. Really like something for a week or two or three or four, and then I'm like, you know. But eventually, I got to settle. And right now, this is my opening screen setup. My salvo kind of option. This is a different one of my guys. This is the Buckray, but the Buckray guy's wings are wrong. They gave him bat wings for whatever bizarre reason. I gave it the model. I said, use this guy. And for some reason, it changed his wings to bat wings. It's like, this guy doesn't have bat wings. Why are you giving him bat wings? And then I tried to make it fix the wings, and it totally messed them up. They didn't look right. So I was like, but still. Anyway, so I have to keep going through and creating more. I'll probably start creating logos because at the moment, logos are going to definitely be in my game. All of the logos. I did create a championship trophy. I thought this was kind of a cool trophy, the FCL championship. So I'll probably start using that and a few little things here and there. And that'll appear as various images here and there. I'll be putting it on things. So the only problem is I think I need to try some more generations of this because the logos doesn't have my ring on it. I want this ring on my logos. So far my trophy, I kept trying to tell it, put this logo on the thing, and it should just have a ring up here, but I don't know why it just refuses to put the ring on the trophy. So yeah, I'll have to fiddle faddle with that a little bit. But anyway, yeah, so I'm getting my images, my artwork done, slowly but surely, getting my bits and pieces in place. All right, let's go finish getting this in place. All right, so progress log, new progress log entry. Atomically increment the counter to ensure uniqueness, even with concurrent access. Why would there be concurrent access? Well, I mean, for calling the ID. I don't think that's ever going to happen because I'm generating it at a particular point in time that is before anything concurrent happens. But that's fine. We'll use this. See, things like atomic here. Sync atomic. I mean, how does a person know that stuff? So does Anthropic do okay with mean, do they do image generation? Does the Anthropic stuff do image generation? I don't know if that's even in their wheelhouse. They might not care, because I think Anthropic kind of focuses on code, right? I mean, they have their Opus. Maybe Opus does image generation, but my wife's planning a Sunday barbecue, and we're gonna play some pickleball. I actually have this weekend off. I don't have to do my my play this week. I don't have any rehearsals. I still have to practice. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been going over the lines over and over and over and over in my head. I think I know all my lines. I know all of my lines. In fact, I know all my lines. It's just you got to keep going over them, practicing where they're landing, where they are, and delivery, and just trying to get that flow going where it's reflexive and not just thought. Because a lot of times I have to stop and go, okay, so I know blah, blah, blah. You need to have, like, somebody says blah, you know blah, you just respond blah, blah, blah. And there are some parts where I know really well, like, great. There's others that I'm kind of like, I kind of stutter through, or I'll miss words, and it's not even missing words. It's missing keywords. There's things and actions you got to do. Plus, there's times when my character's wife says something in between. She just throws things out because that's part of the flow. And I can't let her throw me off when she does that because it's not expected. I'm like, she says something like, boing, my brain just stops in the middle. It's like, no, I got to keep going. All right, so what else did we do? All right, so we created the play progress log. Didn't really do anything new with that. Got the play progress log entry with player action. Doesn't really change anything. That's just normal. Just using that as a placeholder to let you know where you need to put it. Okay, so that fixed that. All right, so what is entry ID counter? Is that, oh, gotta put that up here. Counter for generating unique. Wint 64, is that supposed to be like a GUID? I don't know, that seems kind of risky. Prefix play log is the prefix. I don't need that. I already have that. I do have a what do you call it? An instruction sheet, like I mentioned this before, which you go through and you tell it everything to look at. It still misses things. There's some things it knows to do and it doesn't do it, but there's other times like when it's creating structs or other objects, it doesn't always look in the files that are supposed to have that stuff. Entry. Progress log entry. What do you mean? What the heck? Oh, it's probably in there. I forgot it doesn't put a scroll bar on this. Oh, it does. It's still there. Okay. Int 32. What's the problem with this? Variable int 32 as float 64 value in assignment. Oh. Play progress log. Play progress log is not float. Oh, is that because it's going into the proto? Weird. I don't understand why these are set up that way, but there's no reason for these to be float. These are just grid positions, they're just integers. I'm not even sure why it's 32 to be honest, but yeah. I could see almost placement inches being a decimal, but I think I'm just going to count them as inches and convert them, which is really not a true conversion because, yeah, don't get me started. It's stupid. Unity uses meters. So my simulator.go. Simulator.go is not using float, right? Oh, that's the wrong thing. What am I? I'm looking at gateway. What the heck? Simulator.go. I don't even think float is a thing in here, to be honest. I think proto doesn't. Sessions. Yeah, these are all ints. Oh, those are doubles. Why are they doubles? Again, it's just weird. Oh, la, la. All right, so are we getting close finally? This is probably just a different version. ID with a lower D. Yep. That's what I thought. Alright. We fixed one! One thing is fixed. What do we got down here? Game time. Game time player status go. Jeez, what is that referencing? Route action result. Whoa. Injury status. Whoa. Whoa, what is this, man? That's not a thing. It's not a thing, but I'm wondering if it should be a thing. How am I storing their injury status? No, I can't use it. That's not a route action. It's using it. The AI decided it was going to use that because I was tracking AI player status, but I think I need some other way to track player status. Create a log entry for this player's fatigue injury status. That is a thing. But I need to come up with a different version of status. This was AI's attempt at this, but AI messed this up. That's not a thing. What are you doing? It's not fixed, AI. What are you doing? Okay, so fatigue, injury, plays to return. It's all interesting, but that's totally not a thing. It's probably going to have to go either underneath the players, which I set to the status, and then we're going to have to fetch it. which is because we do a thing where we go out and find. Okay, I think we're good. I don't know what happened there. I had tinnitus for a moment there. Tinnitus. Do people call it tinnitus or tinnitus? I think it's tinnitus, but you could spell it tinnitus or say it tinnitus. So we're calling out to the players. But the thing is, when do we log a player status? Probably at the end of a play. But what if something happens and they get injured mid-play? That would put an end to their play. But that would mean that there has to be a test against injuries. So every play should have an injury test. Or every action. I guess in theory, every action can have like an injury test, right? I should have like a 1 in 1,000 chance or 1 in 100,000 chance of just like a pulled muscle. Every play, a guy's running down, every step he takes, there's a chance of something like a pulled muscle. And it's dependent partially on their fitness and whatever their character is. But it would adjust. And so there's a chance of something stupid, like he pulled a muscle, strained a muscle, or it gets a cramp or something like that. Just every possible injury condition out there just has a chance of being called. And so basically what it would be is I would not have every object has a chance, because people say that if you take a 1 in 1,000 chance 10 times, it's still 1 in 1,000 chance, because every time it's 1 in 1,000 chance. But general rule is the more chances you take, mathematically, the more chances of failure you have. Because if you got a 1 in 1,000 chance and you try it 1,000 times, no, you did not. You're not 100% guaranteed, but you've probably narrowed that down to 10 in 1,000 or 20 in 1,000 chance. Because yes, it's not mathematically calculatable, because it's still 1 in 1,000 chance every time. But odds are, the more times you take a chance, the more likely you are to win. It's like, yeah, you're going for the same odds, but if you had 100 chances to draw a single card out of a deck, you're going to probably draw that card at least once, even though you only have a 1 in 54 chance. So it is an improved chance, but they can't mathematize it because each time it's 1 in 54, so it's not a very good chance. So you're probably going to miss it a bunch, but you're probably going to get it eventually. And that's the part where you're trying to figure out, well, when is that? What is that math? So I would not do that to a player. Say, okay, you've got a chance at a pulled muscle, a twisted ankle, blah, 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 blah. There's 10 things you can do, all of them with the same chance. What I would do is just take the one chance, and then there'd be a randomization or some kind of logic as to which one of those injuries it is. So you would get, if you hit that one, then you are one of these 5 things or 6 things or whatever they are that are all kind of equal on the possibility injuries, and they could be more severe than others and just blah, 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 blah. But these are what could happen. And you play with that and try to go, well, minor injuries happen in the league. It's common, and I want to have that. Or players are sometimes they just have to sit out for a few plays. They could probably come back. Maybe they'll have a minor sprain or minor muscle pull or just a cramp. Hey, Treasure Rat. Hey-oh. How you doing, man? But if you have those things on I just want to have all these things that can happen in a game. Yes, you're injured, but not every time are you injured or you out for a long period of time. Injuries don't have to be for the whole game. Some might even be for multiple games, season-wise. I want to have all of it. And every kind of thing that can happen to you exists. But some players have a lower chance of it happening. And I want to try to make it mathematically close to what happens in the NFL, right? So guys pull muscles, they strain this and do that. And a lot of times they're fine. They end up still playing through it. There might be different skills and abilities and stats for a particular player that might play through certain types of injuries. Maybe he's just tough. He'll have a tough ability, which means if his injury is blah, 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 he can play with minimal risk of additional injury. Yes, there's a chance, but it's going to be like less. You know, his fitness level, his toughness level. Some guys might not be able to play through injuries because they're wimps. They won't play. Same way some guys just don't have high what do you call it? Remember what was it, Randy Moss, that used to be accused of not trying on every play because he knew the ball wasn't going to come to him. Like he would not run a go route if he knew for a fact they weren't throwing to him. So he would kind of jog, and people would know that he was putting in minimal effort because he wasn't in on the play. There's some players like that, you know, that just don't give it 100% every play. They don't want to waste it, or they don't want to injure themselves, blah, blah, blah. And so there's all that stuff has to be in the game to make it interesting, make the players real. So I saw an app that theoretically, I say theoretical because I haven't done it yet, and I have no idea if I can, that can make 2D images have motion, like a 3D image. So you give it bones like you would a 3D model. You give it the skeleton, and it'll draw, basically allowing for things like running or moving their arms or walking or whatever. But it's still just a 2D image. So it can actually some of them will even allow you to do things like rotate them, and it guesses what it looks like on the other side. So it'll draw your 3D model out of a 2D image, which is kind of weird looking. It does kind of have a cheaty effect that works. But I don't think I want to go that far, but I would like to have, if I was going to use 2D models. I thought about using 2D models because it'll be less of a load on the computer. And I thought maybe it'll be more in my wheelhouse. I can get images a little easier, and I don't have to model them. That's what I'm worried about, modeling and animation. Even if I can get the 3D models pretty easily, animating them, adding skeletons, that's just going to be so much work. I feel like I'm going to be working on that for years, and I don't want to. I feel like I will go nuts. I will go crazy if I get my entire game working and I just want to put the visuals in it, and it takes me a year to generate the visuals. I would just go crazy. I would shut down. I'd be like, no, can't do this. It's not coding anymore. It's just creating these dumb models. I'm not an artist. So I'm dreading that. That's why I'm thinking I want to go simple. Maybe I'll upgrade in time and start adding stuff in the future, but I just want to get it working. All right, what is this one? All right, so we're going to take this out for now. I don't know how I'm going to define this, but that's not going to be it. That's just play progress log. I don't think that's the place to add. I think I have to update an actual player setting. It's just not going to work. So I'm going to have to set like record, fatigue, and play progress. Yeah, it's not a good place because then I have to just check the logs. I need some kind of a running status that I can keep track of. I think I have other places I can keep that. Like I have team details, team staff. I have staff, game rules, game session, route action, progress, team play info, last play game state. What is team details? Team details, team staff, game rules. Really, each time a play runs, the game has to go out and get players. What players are involved. And I think it's calling the... Let's see what this says. Player injuries, fatigue, and players injuries, player status, such as fatigue and injuries. Comes from calls to the player's service. Performance-wise, is it a problem? Store this information. See, I feel like there's some piece of information I need to store related to players in the game. Because, yes, I can... I wonder if I should have another object that stores the players and keeps track of their status. Because if something happens, we would log it into a player status, which doesn't even go to UI. Dude, what the heck? Are you all right? What were you in the hospital for? I know you've never said, but do you have some kind of, I mean, I guess it's none of my business really, but do you have some kind of a condition, depression, or I don't know, heart condition or other ailment? I mean, again, you don't have to tell me. I'm just curious. Oh, you had a high heart rate. Oh, wow. Were you stressing? Was it a panic attack, or was it something of that nature? I know Zito used to have some panic. Oh. Well, dude. Relax, man. I know. Who am I to be saying stuff like that? I know. I'm sorry. It's not, yeah, just relax. You'll be fine. No, that's a bummer, man. I feel bad for you. I hope you're okay. Hope it's not too serious. That you're okay now. I'm starting to think I need to create an object locally for player status, game time. Because that's the kind of thing that could be useful, injuries, player ID, what their status is, because they could be hurt just for the game, in which case I probably wouldn't even record that. But for the purposes of game time, Do they track? I wonder if they even track that. When players miss plays because of minor injuries, is that even tracked in the NFL? I mean, can they go back and go, this guy's missed 14 plays during the game? Do they track how many plays a player misses if they don't miss the whole game? Aren't considered injured. Players who are ruled out or listed with injury. Snap count data can reveal how much playing time a player missed, even if they weren't officially injured. Huh. So if I want to have those kind of stats, I do need to track, but I don't want it in the play log because the play log tracks every step and the injuries could happen at any point. So when they get injured or something happens that they miss it, I think I want to have game time status, which means every player that's available would be logged in. Or maybe I just do something like game time or injured player status or something. I think I need to. I feel like I need some kind of way to track players that get hurt during a game. Short of actually logging them in to a... Because they may not be out for the whole game, but they may have some other injury state that needs to be tested. So, yeah, I think I need to add... Fatigue and injuries comes from calls to the player services. So it might be like a per play state. So we can maybe I would say on a particular play we would keep the play. It would be the play ID, so we know what play it came from, the play log ID when they were injured, and then we could say things like it would be their status would be whether they're fatigued, if they're, or maybe that's even where you keep track of fatigue for a particular player, because again it's by play. So you know, I think should be tracked. Let's see. Game. In-game player status such as fatigue, injuries should be tracked per play, but not as part of the play log, since that is more of a per step log. So we need to implement a struct to track this. Only players who are injured / fatigued during the game will fatigued during the game will log here. Let's actually create. Let's create the object. We're gonna go here and we're gonna go game session, team ID, team rules. Where's my log? Player log entry, progress log. Okay, so we're gonna go type player status. Sure, player status, and we'll have. We're gonna have player ID, which I'm gonna say team player ID because I don't like team player ID. And then we're gonna have status. Status. And then we're going to have is fatigued. That works. No, that's not right. So player status can be injured. Maybe I need to say is injured. Is injured. Fatigue. Fatigue, what is it? Fatigue level? So basically what's going to happen is every time a player runs a play, they gain fatigue. Now, some players are going to have a higher resistance to becoming fatigued. Now, if you're fatigued, you're out. So your player status is either you're either not in this table. No, everybody's going to end up being in this table. I think everybody needs to be in this table now that I think about it. When the game starts, we determine who's available, and they all go into this player status table, and they all have blah, 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 their current status, which all of them should not be fatigued. They should not be injured, but some guys who might be probable. Actually, I think ultimately if you're in the game, you're not considered injured anymore. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to make, if players become, if they're available for the game, they will be in this table or this this track, this log. Their status will either be fatigued or injured. You can't be both. I mean, you can, but if you're injured, then you're going to recover. Your fatigue is going to go away. So, and you probably, if you're fatigued and injured on the same play, fatigued is a state at which you are out. Okay, so fatigued is, this is either, right now, I can't think of any other reason why you'd be out, but this is going to be fatigued. Fatigued. Injured. We'll call it injured or healthy. Sure. We can do healthy by default. So everybody will be some status. They'll come in. They're healthy. As long if they're in the game, if it's been determined that they're in the game, they'll be put in this log. They will be healthy. And certain players will be they'll get fatigued or injured. But we got fatigue level. We don't need this. Injury just happens. Injury. Severity. Injury severity. Play. Quarter game. And then we're going to have out missed time counter, number of plays, quarters. Don't need games, quarters. Current game. Okay, so we're gonna have they're gonna be either fatigued, injured, or healthy. The fatigue level is an int. Zero 100. Some players. Some players will play through higher values. Quarter game, number of plays, quarter in game. And then player status, fatigued, injured, healthy. Fatigued just means you're going to wait for the fatigue level to go down, and some players may actually, recover quicker too. It's like you might be fatigued, but you're only out for a play. Some injuries you're only out for one play because it wasn't really an injury. Like maybe you just, you got cramped, or you fell down and you weren't sure if you were injured, and they came out and looked at you. You're fine. You got up and ran off the field. But you have to miss that one play. Some guys just, whatever happens, if they force the clock to be stopped, you have to miss at least one play. That's the way the NFL works. That's how my game will work. What I'd like to do, see, these are all things that I want to be able to do. I want to change skin tones. So if you're a lizard, you might have green skin or blue skin or various lizard colored skin. Some guys will be calico or chameleon, and they kind of blend with their background. That'd be kind of cool. Some guys, just various types of characters that have the same different, like the icicle giants might just be different shades of blue, dark blue, light blue, very, different blue colors, and maybe it's not much, it's just minor shades of variations. Maybe I give them some freckles or some other thing to kind of make them stand out. So every character, not every character, but a lot of them will have these different appearances. And but it would be assigned by a player. So every player gets these particular aspects, and so if you get that card, he looks like that card. So he's always going to be the same guy, no matter where he goes, because that's the way it should be, right? I mean, he's not a different player. And these are all things that are dream ups in my head. I plan to do it. I want to do it, but it's a lot of graphical coolness that may be kind of hard to implement because I'm not that guy. I'm not talented like that. But I have some great dreams for it. And if I could get people who knew how to do that, that were working for me, that could do that, I'd gladly hire them and say, hey, man, do this for me. But will my game make that much money? Enough to pay someone to do that kind of work? I don't know. I don't know what it's going to make. If it's cool enough and the game plays well enough. So the important thing is the game plays well enough, that the game part of it is the best. And that's what I really want to get working, even though I have these great graphical ideas. The game doesn't play and the people don't want to play the game. It doesn't matter what it looks like, right? Eye candy is great. It's great for Kickstarter, Indiegogo, marketing. But you want to keep your player base. The game's got to be good. And you're better off with less eye candy and a great game than you are with more eye candy and a crap game. It's impressive that some of the stuff that AI can do. I'm really looking forward to trying 4. I haven't tried 4.0 yet because I haven't done anything. This might be a good one to implement that onto because I need to track that. So we'll see how good it does. Maybe I'll swap this over to 4 and just see what 4 can do with one question. So I got to make it a very good question because it sounds like I'm going to get rate limited, chopped down because everybody's using it. It's brand new, right? Everybody and their grandmother's probably using it. Fatigue and injury should be tracked per player, but not as part of the play log, since that is more of a per step log. So we need to implement a struct to track this. Oh yeah, I need to have the. Do I want to have the? No, it's game state ID, because this is probably by game state ID. Oops, video. Oh, nothing. Do that. Why did that shrink? Don't shrink my letters. Don't do that. All right, game state ID. Okay, so we got the game state ID, which is game state is a per play thing. So at every state, this log will be there. And we just basically create a new log per play. So game state's always going to have this player status, but that's going to be where we track and follow and all these other parts, and we just use the game state to track these things. Some players may get, be able to take on 30% fatigue or more. And that's generally, I probably won't have it go that high. I'm thinking like, we'll base it on like 20 or something, so because even the best player, if you run them 5 or 6 straight plays, they're gonna step out for a minute. They're gonna be fatigued. Fatigued is not injured though, so we don't have to miss that. A lot of players miss plays though, and it's interesting. It would be interesting to see. This would allow me to track snap count, because if they're fatigued, I can go, well, this player wasn't in on this play, or anytime you track their snap count. But really it's not even about their snap count. It's more about their, like a receiver is not going to be in on every play, especially if you're a number 3 receiver, right? Because there may only be 1 or 2 receivers in, and the number 3 receiver won't be on the field. He just doesn't have as much time in the game. So in-game player status such as fatigue and injury should be tracked per play, but not as part of the play log, since that is more of a per step log. So we need to implement a struct to track this. Only players who are injured, fatigued. At the beginning of the game, when players are when players' status is determined, they will be added to this log. All players available to play. Kurama, how you doing, man? So, when do you start school? Didn't you say you were starting pretty soon? You said you were you're going for programming. Nintendo here is also talking about going to school, or he was, for programming. You know, your emojis aren't coming through. All I see are exclamations. All I see are like XD and carrots facing each other, and what's it, greater than, period, less than, and n.n. That's all I'm seeing. And even on my Twitch stream, it doesn't go through. I don't know. If those are emojis, man, they're not coming through. Or maybe those are like just text emojis and I have no idea what they mean. Is that top one a cat? The whiskers? And then n.n, I have no idea what that is. But even on I'm looking at my Twitch stream and it doesn't show it either. They will be added to this log. All players available to play at the beginning will be added with status healthy. Oh yeah? Now you said you were working on Python, right? You're doing Python, but you had asked me what other languages might be better, and I told you I don't know. Some stuff I remember. Some things not so much, but the best time to get in on a streamer's activity is when they have like 17 followers. So that's the best time. Well, I have more than that on Twitch. I have like, what, 170, 180, something like that on 190. You can see my counters, though. They don't change. I have them on here, and I have my checker going, but I haven't gained a new follower in like 3 weeks on any channel. Not on YouTube, not on Twitch. I must be boring or something. Code is boring. I get it. I know. I have to admit to that. Each time I realize that, and it's basically, I'm not even talking to the viewers. I'm talking to me. I've watched guys code, and I glass over. I mean, you were saying you glass over when you watch me code. I've watched other people on screen, and I kind of know what's going on sometimes, but I'm still like, it's like, it's hard. You gotta finding entertaining coders. It's gotta be hard. There's a few of them out there. There's a few guys out there that are actually pretty entertaining, but they don't. A lot of them are doing videos, so I mean, it's easier to be entertaining when you're doing a video. But there are some live coders out there that they're kind of interesting. And then the only people that gain a lot of coders I've noticed are very entertaining guys, or women. Women get a lot of followers because they're women. I don't know why. I don't know. It's not even necessarily because, I mean, some of them might be great coders. I don't know, but every female coder I've seen on Twitch or even YouTube. Do I even watch YouTube coders live? I don't think I have a lot of followers. They have a ton of followers. And not all of them even have their image on screen. They might use a picture, or not even a picture, a Bitmoji, which just a little cartoon image of themselves. And so it's not even about their looks. It's just that people like following women coders. It's like video gamers, coders, anybody. It's like guys will just follow women because they're women. I don't know. I mean, the logic. I mean, if they're good, I get it. But some of them are like, so. I guess I'm just not one of those guys, I suppose. But and then some of them are boring as heck. Now, I followed a couple of female miniatures painters because I paint miniatures too. And I follow them because they're good at painting. They do a really nice, they do some great minis, and I like to watch what they're doing. They're not all entertaining. So to be a successful streamer, you either have to be very good or very entertaining. And you have to also do a lot of other stuff like create videos and promote and do other stuff. Have a cool looking stream and do other things. I don't know. But your success rate is a lot better if you've got one of those two things. You're either very good or very entertaining. I guess if you're very good looking, but if that was the case, I'd have 1,000 people already. Just kidding. But it's maybe if you're a very good looking female. Women get looks help. I mean, I'm sorry, looks help women get viewers, and anybody who says that's not true is delusional. Especially now, a female that's attractive and very good at what she's doing is like, you know, a unicorn to a lot of Twitch watchers. it's and entertaining. Attractive, very good at what they do, and entertaining. That's the trifecta, right? And so if you've got all three of those things going for you, you're going to do just fine on Twitch or YouTube or whatever you're doing. Now, I'm okay. I'm a solid logic thinker, but coding wise, I mean, you can see me. I'm using AI a lot, and I code through a lot of things, and I understand the structure of code and how to create code. But I can't teach code, and I wouldn't even try to teach code. There's things I've learned and things I know about. I could teach code structure, like how to properly organize your code and how to build code that makes clean, solid applications. But that's not about languages, and that's stuff you could learn in time and learn with other people. But that's about it. That's what I think I could teach because I understand, and I could break that down for people. I wouldn't try to teach people how to code syntax, and I don't even think syntax is going to be that important in the future. AI is going to be doing everybody's syntax. Let's see. At the beginning of a game, when player status is determined, they will be added to this log. All players available to play at the beginning will be added with a status of healthy. I think run game. Is it run game? Get next play result is going to do get game by ID. Coach client, consult game plan. Save game session, get coach client. Test run game response. So, get next play result doesn't check the status of players. Get game, coach client, consult game plan, run play. So it must be run play, and run play is part of the runplay.go. Run play. We got home team. Got the get the play. All right, so check if we need to fetch active players. First play after a cache reset. Initialize an active player cache for the game. Use the player service active players by team function to get all active players. Update player fatigue status for all sideline players. Update player fatigue status. Go to definition. All right. Game time player status.go has a function called update fatigue status. Increase remaining plays for injured players and reset fatigue for players who have rested enough. I have already React. React is a web language. It's like Angular or Vue, or it's basically JavaScript. It's just a another form of JavaScript. Like Angular is using TypeScript, which is also JavaScript. It's just it uses more of a type formatted JavaScript. React doesn't have as much strict typesetting, but it's also JavaScript. They just have their own, I want to say like a wrapper around JavaScript. It creates its own modules and functions and whole methods. Its whole setup is JavaScript, but it's got its own like structures for doing that. And React, pure React doesn't have a backend manager. Now there are tools or apps you can use with it, like Next.js, which you can load up Next.js libraries, which allow you to use Angular or React with it to do backend interactions, like APIs and all that stuff would go through Next.js. But there's also a bunch of other ways to do it. So I don't know enough about all the other options to do it. Like I have Next.js in my website, my React website, and I use it to interact with my APIs, but I don't use it as much to call the database directly, because it doesn't need to. I have APIs to handle that. So I don't know how much my React is actually using Next.js, and it's kind of blurred. Next.js kind of integrates with React, so there are some things that I'm using that are Next.js, some that are React. It's just kind of combined. It's like you pair them together so you can get a more full-featured application out of them. But Next.js doesn't have to work with React, from my understanding. You can actually use it with Angular as well, with TypeScript, and so it's an add-in that works with both. Although I'm not sure. Now, some of them don't use Next.js. You might use Node.js, which Next.js is built on. It's kind of like another wrapper, and that's the thing. A lot of these languages and stuff, especially on the web side, are wrappers around like other types of things. Next.js wraps around Node.js, JavaScript, or React and Angular and Vue. I think they all wrap around JavaScript to some extent. They're using those base languages, and so yeah, there's a lot of overlap between stuff. But I use React mostly. I don't use Angular. I don't really care for Angular. It's kind of, to me, it's overly complicated. It makes things more work than it needs to be, I think, so I tend to avoid it. I prefer to use, I like React. It seems pretty straightforward. There's a couple of things I don't care about with React too. It's got some asynchronous functionality that is kind of a pain to work around. It's both good and bad in that sense. The asynchronicity allows it to be quick and fairly fast, but it also can make some actions kind of complicated because you have to deal with the speed. Improve the syntax of what? Of React? What do you mean? Improve the syntax of what exactly? Improving syntax. Just, oh, in general, just programming better syntax? Well, okay. If you're talking about just programming in general, syntax is about being error-free. Okay, so that's what syntax is. It's about knowing the methods, knowing, trying to make your code not have bugs in it, or obvious bugs, or compile time bugs, right? There's runtime bugs, but that's not syntax usually. That's usually some logic failure somewhere. But there's compile time errors, that's syntax. And as far as improving that goes, really all that is learning the syntax. Or use AI to help you with syntax. AI can help you get syntax. Now, code structure is a little bit different. If you're talking about improving the way your code works as far as performance and readability, that becomes a little trickier. There are things about that. That's not about syntax so much as logic flow and complexity. And there are different ways. Now, what you could do is if you use AI at all, and again, I'm an advocate for AI. I think it's got a lot of benefits. If you have a particular task that AI built, or maybe that you just built because you're learning it, you could have AI look at a particular method or function and go, is there a more efficient way to write this? And then you tell it what language you're trying to use and what you're trying to accomplish. And you say, okay, I'm trying to do this, This is the function I wrote to do it. I'm using these languages. Is there a more efficient way to do this, or a better performant way of writing this? And AI might give you some ideas on what makes it better. It's like one of the things is code complexity, which is a major measurement of your code. When people look at your code, they're going to go, what makes this overly complex? A lot of nested methods and functions and stuff like that is considered complex. So in other words, having fors with ifs inside of them, with switches inside of them, with more ifs, more switches, and you're just all that stacking, all those nested structures is considered high complexity. And it can be problematic. It could be tough to follow. There could be a lot of error levels, and that's bad code complexity. You want to simplify, not have a lot of levels and complexity in your code. Other things you want to make sure you do is error handling. You want to include error checks, try catches if your code just try catch. I don't know what Python uses for error handling. It's probably try catch. A lot of them use some form of a try catch block. Not everything. Go does not use try catch. Go uses pretty much inline error handling, which is weird because it used to be that was considered a no-no, but apparently in the Go world, inline errors are the best way to go. In fact, I think I've been reading and hearing that that's becoming almost more the norm. You validate your code as you're going. If there's an error, you respond to it immediately and kick out. But try catch is still a major aspect. So what try catch structures are: all your code happens in the try. If there's an error, you get kicked out to the catch. The catch says, do this with the error, log it, do something with your error, and then leave. And then there's a finally that you may or may not use. Not everybody uses the finally, but you can usually have a finally, which is for cleanup. Dispose of objects, delete, log what needs to be logged. Just do stuff that might save your state, or do something that helps with cleanup on your code. And then exit, however the app exit. And like I said, all code is different for how it does a lot of this stuff. But good clean code is going to have error handling. It's going to have a minimum complexity, so you're not going to have too many loops and nested structures. That's all good clean code. It's not really syntax though. Syntax is different, but that's the way to kind of do it. And organize your code. Be consistent. Like if you create a particular class structure, say for example, all my services have the same structures: types, store, service, and main. Okay. And then I also have a gRPC handler. But all of my services have that. So it's consistent. There's many ways to do that. In fact, you don't even need to have all those. You could theoretically put it all in one file. But that makes it hard to track, hard to follow. What's in it? When you want to define a particular structure, I have my types. When it's time to do stuff with the database, I know, oh, well, all my database interactions are in the store. Services are your methods and functions and things. This is where all of the juicy stuff is, the processes that are going on, the methods and functions and data being manipulated and passed around, and all that stuff happens in the services. Main is where the service for me gets started. You know, the app gets going. Now, a lot of applications have like a main.go or a main something. It's not, maybe not .go, it might be whatever your language is, CS for C# and so on and so forth, or a startup, same kind of thing. That's where it sets all of its variables and runtime processes and things that need to happen will happen in the main. A lot of times you get that going, you never touch it again because it's just like, okay, it's up, it's running, it's doing all the things it needs. Like for me, all of my stuff is happening in the service.go, but because you don't want code to get too complex, you don't want your code to have 20 pages. You should not have a class with pages upon pages upon pages of stuff. Once you start having more than a couple of pages of things and you have more than a few different functions or methods in there that are unrelated, you need to start grouping those out, putting them in their own classes, their own files. Like I have all my runtime stuff here. My run play is here. My run game, which this one has like 5 methods and functions. This one has a few more. But I also know the flow. My run game is my starting point. My service may have a few different other methods, but a lot of them have to do with just kind of getting stuff going, or they're not specific. But then I have my game time player status, which is basically, this is just things have to do with injuries and fatigue and everything else that's going on during a play. They'll funnel through the game time player status. But I know that stuff won't be cluttering up my other stuff because I have some pretty complex stuff going on. I actually have a really complex setup for my runtime actions as well as my route actions. Route actions are the assigned things that a player does. Runtime actions are things that happen that aren't part of the assigned actions. Like they might do stuff like, have to run after you've intercepted the ball. That's a different thing. You have a fumble could occur. These are all things that happen during a game that aren't planned, but they happen. Injuries and things like that might fire off. Check for injuries and all that stuff. So that's my runtime actions. So I separate them, and then on top of that, I have tests, which aren't fully that I've been adding in a update as time goes on. But that's Go has its own test files, and unit testing is huge. Your school will probably get you to do unit testing. I hope they do, because unit testing is very important. Automated unit testing is even better. But there's a lot involved in all that stuff, so that's a whole nother conversation for another day. Testing is very important, but it's also a pretty big conversation. For the logging of player status struct set up in go for logging. Game time, fatigue, and injury. In game time, that occasionally play a song that is more. So we have to struct to track this at the beginning of the game. Let's do beginning of the game, when player status is determined, they will be added to this log. All players available to play at the beginning will be added with the status of healthy. Game time player status calls a function called player fatigue status. I have a player status struct set up in the types.go. After each play, a player status will be updated based on what happened during the play. Fatigue level is a numeric value that will increment each play for each player in the play based on their fitness and the number of actions they executed during play. Yeah, coding will take a while. You'll get it. You just keep looking at code and watching what it does. And you know what? Building applications is the best way to learn. Get something in your head that you would like to see created. And then start writing code for it. You can use AI if you want to kind of get you started, kind of get some structs and kind of see what it looks like. Say, oh, okay, this is this. But then you take particular methods and functions that it pops up because you're pretty new and you might not be able to read the code right away because you're pretty new. But take a function or method and go, okay, what is this? You can go to AI and go, all right, you created this function. What is it doing? Explain to me its processes. And the AI will go through, well, in this I'm doing this, and this I'm doing that. And it'll give you a pretty good explanation, especially Claude. Claude does a real good job with that. But it'll explain to you what's happening in a method or function. And you could go through and actually have AI teaching you. And then as you start to understand what's happening in a particular method or function, you could kind of go, okay, well, based on what you said, that's not really what I need it to do. You know, maybe I've kind of seen all the functions and methods, and it's like, okay, I think you kind of went the wrong direction with this. How would I change this method to do blah, blah, blah? And sometimes it'll tell you how to change it. Other times it'll say, oh, well, do this, and it'll give you code. If you don't want to give you code, just say, tell me how I can change this. And then you can go do that. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I think it's great to have it explain code. I've done it many times. Like, if I don't understand what's happening, you know, there's not very many things that happens. I can usually figure it out. But usually I'll look at it and go, what is the purpose of this function or method? Because sometimes I already have an idea. And I'm like, I don't think I want this. But let's make sure that this is necessary because I don't fully understand its syntax. So I'll ask AI. Now, if you're using VS Code, you can say, I don't understand what the function in this class is in this file is doing. Can you explain to me what its purpose is? And if you have a question specific, like for me, I might say, because I already have this other method or function that appears to be doing something similar. Is this required? Which one of these is the more robust? That kind of thing. So ask the questions that help you to improve the code and understand it. And it'll go through and say, okay, well, this one's doing blah, 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 and this one's doing blah, 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 and this one's necessary, and this one, you know, maybe this one's redundant, whatever. It'll give you some kind of logic. Or if you just want to know how something's working, you say, I'm really new to this language. Tell me what this is doing. I don't know what TT_TT is. again, it doesn't show up as any kind of a thing. But yeah, I like the idea of developing an actual app program because it just helps me to wrap my head around what's happening better. Oh, it's a face. Okay. I don't know why none of your emojis are coming through. It's like they're just coming through as text. I mean, usually these things will convert. A lot of languages will. Maybe it's the keyboard or whatever you're using. I don't know. But yeah, there is a lot to do. I like the idea of building things. When I have taken classes, I've like I said, I'm self-taught, but I have taken like 1-day classes to learn how to do this or that or the other thing. My brain starts firing and I'm like, oh, that'd be really cool to do this, this is this. So I like to go and implement it on something that I'm working on because it helps me to learn it better and gronk it better. Fatigue level is a numeric value that will increment each play for each player in the play based on their fitness and the number of actions they executed during the play. Injury status, or injury severity states how what type of how serious the injury is in terms of plays, quarters, or game. If a player, if injury status is game or a number of quarters that equal the remaining player is out is oh yeah, the other option here would be out. That player status will be changed to out, and they will not be the rest of the game. Otherwise, quarters will be reduced at the end of the current quarter. When quarter last play game state dot quarter changes. Or at the end of each play. There. What else? All right, Claude. Let's see what you got for me, man. let's clear this. Can you create the code updates for rungame.go, runplay.go, and game time player status .go. As well as the necessary profile updates required to implement these changes, or this functionality, using the existing functions if they exist to support it. This functionality. Be sure to update functions that need to be updated in order to support any new functions or vehicles. Alright, here we go. See what you got for me, Claude. Claude 4, can you do this without crashing? This is a big one. Uh-oh. Yes. This is a big one. I don't know. Claude 4, I don't know what the current limitations on what Claude can do for me. But it's all right. Okay, so it's updating the proto. That's pretty crucial. I expect that scroll bar is going to get pretty tiny. It actually started writing really fast, but that was probably an easy one to do. Ooh, the scroll bar's shrinking. It's cranking out. What else we got? Now, let's update the game time player status.go. Alright, so we're making some changes to the player status.go. That's a big one because it's got a lot of things to go, a lot of things to happen there. I'm impressed at how fast it's going, but it also worries me because normally these things are kind of slower. So they either cranked a lot of CPU power into this to make it think that fast, or I don't know that it's completely, because I don't feel like it went through all my code very well. I mean, that was really quick. I mean, I did tell it where to look and do stuff, but it does kind of make me worried. Runplay.go. There's a lot going on here. Now let's update rungame.go. It's a lot of stuff. Finally, let's add the service methods to handle player status operations. Get player statuses. This implementation provides comprehensive player status tracking, fatigue management, injury handling, quarter-based recovery, integration with existing code in runplay, blah, 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 profile updates, initial. Sounds good. All right, so I'm going to implement that at a later point. I got to take a break. I got to get up and walk around because my legs are stiffening after today's run. Kurama, Nintendo, and Treasure Rat. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Appreciate it. It's always fun to have you guys around. Pass on the word. I'm going to be launching my Indiegogo soon. If anybody wants to help support this project, I would appreciate it. If not, follow me, subscribe.